I got a call from the pastor of a small Christian church a couple miles east of Woodburn, and she said, I want you to be a chaplain. And I said, you got the wrong guy. And she said, no, you're a teacher, you're a manager, you're a dad, you have all the qualities. You've taught Sunday school. I said, fine. She said, I want you to be a chaplain on a whitewater rafting trip with a bunch of high school kids. I said, you got the wrong guy. I've got this blown out knee. I can't walk without a cane. I'm going to have surgery in a couple of weeks. You know, I just am not an outdoors kind of position right now. She said, you'll be sitting in a boat. What could be so wrong? I was like, I couldn't think of another excuse. So a couple days later, I found myself on a river in Eastern Oregon with a bunch of high school kids in a whitewater raft. And I was a chaplain. So the responsibilities of a chaplain were pretty much just to hang out in the campground and make sure that everyone went to their own tent, which I had done. And I thought, okay, now I'm on a whitewater rafting trip. I don't have anything else to do. This is great. And so we get in the boat, and in my particular boat, there were 5 other kids. This was one of the regular boats, big inflatable boat, 6 people, guide in the back. She was this tremendous guy, and she was about this tall, very athletic, was like Captain Bligh. She said, when I tell you to paddle, you're gonna paddle. When I tell you people, you're gonna paddle. She said, you know, right forward is that command, right forward is that command, left. When I say dig, you're gonna do this, and all the kids were like, great, we know how to do this. They went every year. I was a stranger among them, they all knew each other. So we take off, and we're going down the river. And we get to the first rapid, and she says, okay, we're gonna go in this one. When I call left forward, I want you to start paddling, blah, 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 blah. We go into it, and the guy across from me on the raft is this little roly-poly guy with a bowl-cut haircut. And he's like, I can do this, I can do this. And we nose over into the first rapid, and he puts the paddle out of the water, and he goes, ah! And of course that unbalances the boat, and the boat goes crazy. And we get through the rapids kind of sloppy, we're all wet, and the guy just gets angry. And she says, listen, when I say paddle left, I mean you to paddle. Now you gonna do this? And the kid goes, sure, I can do this. Yes, I will. And she just lights him in. And he's all nervous, but he's ready to go. And we're about to go into our next set of rapids. And she says, this one is tougher. Alan? And I thought, what? She was pointing at this other kid. She says, Alan? And he's like, what? And I think, oh, great, he's got my name. Oh, the lame kid has my name. Oh, man. She says, Alan, are you ready? He says, yes, I'm ready. And he's got his paddle poised, and she says, okay, we are gonna come around this rock, and there's this big depression after it, and then we are going to skirt along the top of it, and it's just going to be beautiful. If we go in that depression, if we get caught in there, we are going to capsize, and you are all going to die. Are you ready, Alan? And he's like, yeah, I'm ready. So she heads into this thing, and it's a thing of beauty. She is guiding us in, and she's yelling, right forward, left back, dig right, and we're all doing our job, and then we nose right into that thing, and I look down, and there's water everywhere, and I look over at Alan, and he's going, ah! And he puts his thing up, and we slide right into that damn thing, and there's water going up, the raft is going up on its side, and he's out of the boat, and as he flies over me, I grab his collar and I pull him back in, and then I'm flying out of the boat, and there's this big burly football kid behind me, and he's grabbing me and pulling me back in the boat, and the guide is screaming like a sailor, yelling at us to paddle, and I think this is how I'm going to die. I'm going to be yelled at by a short outdoor woman holding onto a roly-poly high school kid. This is my death. Thank you, Lord. And somehow we come out of that thing, and we're spinning slowly in the quiet water below the rapids. And now she lights into both of us, and she points at me and she says, "You're the chaplain! Get him under control or you're both gonna walk!" I'm like, oh. So I think, what do I do? What do I do? What does a chaplain do? What do I do? What do I do? So I start talking to him, and I bring in the manager stuff. So we're all on the same team, right here, Alan? He's like, yeah, we're all on the right team. And I bring out the dad stuff, and I'm like, I think you're great, Alan. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm great too. And then she's, I'm thinking, what do I do? Motivational speaker here. And I said, wow, you're doing great here, son. And he's getting all pumped. And he's saying, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And we get the next set of rapids, and she yells, are you two ready? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. Are you ready, Alan? He's like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. And we hit the rapids, and he goes, ah! And I turn to him, and I say, God damn it, Alan! Put that paddle in the water, or I'll kill you myself! And he goes, ah! And he starts battling, and he does his job, and she yells back, and he goes back, and he's ah! She says, ah! And we come out, and it's just perfect. It's just perfect. And I look over at him, and he gives me one look, and his eyes are like this. And I feel ashamed, because I have completely replaced his fear of death with his fear of me. I think I have failed. I have failed the job of chaperone. And I really had nothing else to say to these kids. And he did great the rest of the trip. He did great. He did what he wanted. As long as I stayed about 5 feet away from him, he did great. So lunchtime comes, and we dock at this big beach. And there's this beautiful rock formation just offshore, probably about 2 stories, 3 stories tall, big rock with a slope up one side and a sheer cliff on the other, and the shoreline of the river is here, and the cliff is here, and there's this beautiful pool of deep water. And apparently they always stop there, and they always climb up, and they always jump off. And I think to myself, what would a chaperone do in a situation like this? I mean, because obviously this is dangerous, but I'm going to try to be a chaperone, even though I have failed at my ability to give advice to anybody. So they all run up the thing, and I think, well, at least I better go up there. So I get my cane, and I'm hobbling my way up to the top, climbing this steep trail. And I get to the top, and everyone has jumped off by that time, except for Alan and this other girl. Alan takes one look at me, and goes, ah! And leaves this girl. And she's standing right at the edge of the cliff, and she's looking down. And all the other kids are down at the bottom, probably 2, 3 stories away. And they're all saying, jump, 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 come on, jump, jump. And she really wants to jump. You can tell she really is motivated. And she's scared shitless. She is just scared. And I think to myself, I can't help this woman. I have no skills. I can't help this woman. So I just got a little curious. And I said, so how does it feel? And she looks at me like, are you an idiot? I said, no, really, how does it feel? And she was like, well, my shoulders are tense. I've got this big pain in my stomach. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. My legs feel like I'm electric. And I say, cool, that's great. That's how it feels right before you do anything important. That's how you know this is the right thing. This is the right place to be. And she looks at me and she looks down. And I say, what do you want? And she says something to me that I have kept with me from that day to this. She says something that I use every time I'm facing something impossible, or something that I know I'm going to fail at, or I'm going to die at. Every time I have used what this woman said to me then. And she said, I want to be who I will be down there. I want to be a girl who can jump off a cliff. And I was like, whoa. And I thought, wow, this is the time for the pithy coaching kind of motivational crap that I'm supposed to do as a chaperone. And I turned to her and she goes, ah! And she runs off that cliff, and she is in midair like some cartoon coyote, and her arms are flailing and her legs are, and my only thought is pull your legs together, pull your legs together. And she goes, boom, and she's in the water, and there's just foam everywhere, and all the other kids are like, you know, treading water, and she's not coming up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I've lost one on my watch. And she's not coming up, and one of the football burly guys dives and goes after her. And I'm sure it was just a second or two, but you know, my life passed before my eyes because I thought, she's dead. She's dead. And then boom, she comes up out of the water, and she is already laughing. She is coming up out of the water laughing as she comes up, and she lands on top of the water, and she's laughing, and everybody is clapping. And I look down at her, and I say, how does it feel? And she laughs, and she says, I have the world's biggest wedgie! Thank you.